Good evening. It's Cindy Fodor here with Stamp the Love, and it is Make It Monday. This is a recorded version, so I am recording this because it's a class night. I'm recording this on Mother's Day, so I wanted to say Happy Mother's Day to all of you. Whether or not you have children that were born of you or children that you have just loved and had a part in raising, I bless you and wish you a Happy Mother's Day. I have some fun projects for you tonight. First, I just want to mention a couple of things that I don't want to forget. It's early in May. We have the brand new catalog that is available for purchase. We also have the new online exclusives that are available. There are a few things that have sold out already, as I tried to mention previously. Like I'm sure things are going to sell out. So hopefully, if you missed it, hang tight. I'm sure it will be back. I apologize, but it's just, there are some things that Stampin' Up! Does not have any idea how many people want. So anyways, first of all, product of the month this month, I looked at it and I'm like, oh, that's cute paper. I did not realize it was vellum paper. So it's a heavy vellum. I saw a short video on it, and it's really cool that they coordinated two of the sort of neutral colors that are a little less transparent, along with the pretty designs that are more transparent. So I'm excited to get mine. I forgot to put it on my first order. I'm so bummed, but hopefully my next order, I will be remembering to pop it on. I'm not sure how I missed that, but anyways. Also, our Creative Stamping Collective this month is featuring the Lily of the Valley suite or bundle. And I'm going to be using one of those. One of my projects is going to be using that bundle tonight. I'm in love with it. In fact, in the suite, there's an embossing folder, and it's this one. And I'm also using that for one of the projects, a different project, but it's the Floral Spray 3D embossing folder. So I'm just showing you that now because I won't be able to pop back here when I'm showing you the projects. I think that's everything. The projects that you see tonight will be the ones that we do in class this month. Or this month and this actual week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday are class nights. And you can get them for free by placing an order of $50 or more on my website. So if you're not sure how to do that, message me. If you get my emails, the link is in the email, but with all the pictures and everything that I sent at the end of April. So, all right, you ready to get started? Here we go. If I can get to the right screen here. Okay, so this project is using one of the product of the months from last month. It's the die. It's like an eyelet type die. And I saw this card, and I feel like I don't have quite enough light on here. I saw this card and I went, oh, they have to see this card because it really shows off this die so beautifully. And it's such a soft and gorgeous card. Excuse me. I am casing this from Kimberly Wong Myers, who I think I mentioned it when I was showing these in my last video. I was just showing you what was coming up. So let's see how to do that. I did go ahead and die cut the piece ahead. But after I die cut it, then I trimmed it down to size. It's a little tricky when you trim it down because you can get these little outcroppings or incroppings. So that's why I waited till after I had it die cut so that I could try to not do that. But it's not a science. But the nice thing about this card is you can cut it down to whatever size you need, and it doesn't matter. Let me grab the unfolder here. I can cut it down further if I don't like what's happening. Okay, so I have my base is our new Barely Blush, and I am adding, well, I'm going to add this first, but I want to show you how I decided to do this. just because there's so many holes in this, the other thing that you need to know if you have this or if you're getting it, I think it's still available if you did not choose to get this yet. So these product of the months are an add-on. They're $5 for as long as your order hits 75, and then you can add one of these items. So this one, you want to make sure that the die is actually, the cutting part is actually facing up. Put your paper on top of it and then put your cutting plate on top of that. And for some reason, I don't know, I don't understand it. It makes absolutely no sense, but it actually cuts better when it's upside down. Okay, looking for my two-way glue, which it looks like I'm going to be using this. Let's see if I have this. I'm just going to put a little bit of it out there. And then I'm just using one of our old sponges. Remember we used to do this? Just get a little bit on your sponge, and then I can just go across here and get this inked up good. And the silicone mat is great for this because then you can just clean it right off once it's dry. And I'm not wasting my adhesive because I can use all of it. All right. Now I can put this on my base. All right, I just want to make sure I'm pressing down. Good. All right, so while that sits there and dries, I'm going to go ahead and put this piece. I think, did I show you the paper? I did say I couldn't. This is the paper that I'm using for this card. Artisan Sketched Garden designer paper. So I love the black and white, and I'm actually cutting out one of the flowers from this paper for my card. So this is one of the papers, and I'm just using the stripes. And then we just need to cut this. And you can cut it as close or as not close as you want. Maybe for this bottom one, I'll try to cut that one a little closer. It's terrible when I try to rush. I can cut pretty fast when I'm not on camera, but when I'm on camera and I'm trying to rush, I am a mess. Okay. I want to show you how it looks with a rushed and quick cut and not being too careful. We'll see if we can still make it look nice. Put my money where my mouth is, right? I had a beautiful day today. We went, we saw all the kids yesterday, or most of the kids that were around this weekend, and because we had birthdays to celebrate. My oldest grandson turned 14. Can you believe it? I'm getting old. My dad keeps reminding me. My 86-year-old dad keeps reminding me how old I'm getting. But yeah, we got together yesterday, so we decided to just go to my mom's today and be with her, and so that was fun. We had a really good visit there. One of my sisters was there as well, so her and I split the meal prep and gave my mom some minimal stuff so that she could feel like she's still part of it, because she gets upset if you don't give her something to do. And any of you that knows my mom can understand that. Okay, there we go. Let's get down here and get this pot. All right, there we go. And I'm going to add a little bit of color, but not a lot. I brought in my Barely Blush blends, and I'm going to start with the light and see if that gives us enough color, because I just want it to be very slight color, although my green is going to be a bit intense, I think. Which are flowers and which are leaves? That is the question. Let's make this a flower, and this one. Okay, and then I'm going to use the light lemon lime twist for a little bit of leaf color, just to set that off a little. And again, I don't know which are leaves and which are flowers, but okay, there we go. And then you can pop this up or leave it flat. Let me go ahead and I'm going to glue this down to my pink base and see if I can get it centered and straight. I feel like my other one was not straight, and it's a little tricky because there's a lot of pattern on there. Okay, scoot that over just a little. All right, and then, oh, I forgot the water. We could have colored the water in, but I didn't bring a blue. All right, I did tie my bow. This is our Barely Blush in color ribbon, and I'm just going to tuck that on there. And then we do need to emboss our saying because I'm using this black strip. I think that really sets this off nice. And for this card, I used I'm Here For You from Prayer and Promises. Love this set. But I know a lot of my gals want birthday cards. So I grabbed a happy birthday from somewhere. I don't even remember where it was. So we're going to do this one a happy birthday. So I got my Versamark. Just see if I can get this on here straight. I did run this on here, but my brain is fried. I can't remember anymore. This saying is a little bit, I don't know. It doesn't look straight. It looks like it has a curve to it. I'm just going to ink it again. It's one of those measure twice, cut once things. Get it right the first time, right? All right, then we'll get some powder on here. I just lost one of my cameras, but I want to get this powder on here before I fix it. Okay. And let me grab tweezers. All right, there we go. And we'll get some adhesive on here. Give that a second to dry. And I might need to just trim this down a little bit because I want this to go just to the edge. Sorry, I just need to lift this up here so I can see if this is straight. All right, and then I just need to snip this off right here. All right, and then I think I'm gonna pop this up, even though this is designer paper and it's not real firm. But I think if I put enough dimensional on here, and we're gonna use some pieces and just do the core of it, not worrying about the edges too much. All right. And then we'll just pop that right up here. Ta-da! And then last but not least, we're going to add some gems. And I'm using the shimmering dots. I believe these might be the ones that come with, no, yeah, they might be the ones that come with the suite. I think so. So, since we used green, I'm going to use the green gem. And because this has a lot less color than this piece, they're both come out of the same paper, but there's a whole bunch of different ones. I'm going to come in with the darker green and just add a touch more color so that it shows up a little bit more. Because what's the use coloring something if you can't see it, right? I don't want to get it on my bow, but now you can tell me if that makes any difference. And then I'm going to do the same with the blend. So what color I use is going to probably depend on which flower I decide, or which vase I decide to use. There, I like that. I think that, not that this one shows, but just in case, we'll add some color there too. Okay, so there we go. I think that helps. I don't know if you can even see that close enough to know, but yeah. How fun is that? Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, this is our next project. I'm having issues with these lights tonight. So this is the one using that beautiful embossing folder. And there's some shimmer on here. I'm going to show you how I did that. But I especially want to show you this technique. This is made with a die, and I embossed with a die, and I'm going to show you exactly how I did that. So I am using phrases and frames for the saying and the die. And this says, sending prayers and heartfelt sympathy to you and your family. I have a piece of white here somewhere. So let's stamp that. All right, then let me get rid of this so I don't make a mess. I'm going to take my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and I'm going to take out, I have two number 3 plates. I'm going to take out number 2 because it's a cutting plate. It's the plate you have to have in to cut. And since we're not cutting, I'm taking that out. So I'm going to put 3 down, and then I'm going to put our silicone mat down. Next, I'm going to put my saying that I just stamped. And then next, I'm going to put the die. I'm going to center that on here. You can probably see why I don't want it to cut, because my words don't quite fit on this die. And I'm disappointed with that. So that gave me a reason to try another technique. So we had some plates a long time ago to emboss, and I feel like we have one in the new catalog, but I can't find it online, so I'm not going to show you. But it came with some shims, so I'm just going to throw these shims on here. And we used to use these metal plates. I want to say it's the metal that they used to bend. I got it at like Home Depot or something. And then I'm just throwing a piece of cardstock on top of that. So that's my shim. You play around with it till you find something that works good. Now it slides through pretty easily, but then when I get to the die, I feel a little tiny bit of resistance, and I heard some cutting there. So I may have put too many shims in there. We shall see how that worked. Get all the stuff off of here. Oh, it looks pretty good. This got a little bit cut right in here, got a little bit extra pressed down in. But because I didn't want it to cut, it also didn't cut at the edge, so I am going to have to trim that off. But it gave me a nice pattern to follow. Let me just get rid of this really quick, and then we can finish this. Get all my pieces here. You go up there. These things are heavy to move around, aren't they? Okay. So let's just get this trimmed out. And I'm just following the indentation that it made here. And I'll show you another version that I did with this actually cutting and with a smaller saying. So there's an oval die in the set as well. But how cool does that look, right? All that deep embossing in there. It wouldn't have to be quite as deep as it is. So I think I could maybe remove that extra piece of paper that I put in there. Or one of those plastic shims. But the key is having that squishy silicone mat in there that prevents it from cutting, because it presses down into it instead of allowing it to cut, because it's not on a hard surface where it can cut. Okay. All right. So let's next take this and give it a good squirt. So I have taken some of our old shimmer paint. It came in a little bottle, and it was called Champagne. And I put it in one of our squirt bottles. You want to make sure that your surface around you, it's not going to matter if it gets shiny, because this is definitely, I don't think it's alcohol. Anyway, so that means it's going to take a little longer to dry, but it really disperses nicely. So hopefully you can see the shine that's happening there. All right, it's also a little wet, so it's going to be a little shimmery. Now my paper's a little wet. I'm just going to wipe that off, and we'll just keep working on the surface. All right, so next I need to tie this, and let's go ahead and just tie this. Let me tell you how long this ribbon is. It's about 9 1/4 inches. And I'm just going to tie a knot. This is going to be a faux knot, so that I don't have to tie it around my card, because I know a lot of you hate to tie a bow or a knot. And then if you take it around your card, it's even harder to get it nice and tight. So I just tied a knot around there, pulled it off, and snipped that little curve, and boom, there it's done. Now, this is still drying, but we're going to try to stick this on here. And I'm using tone on tone gray granite with gray granite, just because this embossing folder is so gorgeous that I wanted to not like take anything away from it and just show it in all its glory. I know we don't often use embossing folders that way. They're usually like a background or something, but this one is actually going to be like the focal point. I mean, our greeting is the focal point, but this embossing folder is going to be showing off big time. I think I went over that a little bit. All right, I guess I didn't fold my cardstock in half, so let's do that next. I have to say, this cardstock definitely feels a little heavier than that Barely Blush did. All right, let's line this up. I have this cut at 5 1/4 by 4, so that it gives me a little bit of a border, but sometimes when you emboss something, they emboss different ways, so you'll get a little bit more width one way than the other. All right, so it's pretty much dry. There's a little bit in here that's still wet, but I think hopefully you can see that shimmer on there. It's just really subtle and very stunning. Okay, let's get some dimensionals on here, and I might, let me just do some pieces here. I think I'm going to just stick them here above and below, so that they will just go right across the ribbon, like so. And then last but not least, we are going to add some gems. And I am using the Moody palette dots, because I wanted a little bit more white on here to go with the white, because we have a lot of gray granite, but this one little white piece. So I decided that these Moody palette dots would add a touch of white that would be really pretty. Let's put them in these little flowers up here. There we go. There's two. Maybe we'll add a third. I don't like them to be in a line. And if I put this down here, it will be in a line. Okay, I'm just going to throw it here. I have the worst time deciding where to put gems. On this sample, I just put 2 down below here. And then I wanted to show you this other one. So on this one, I just cut this whole piece. Okay, and you can see it does emboss a little bit on these lines, but this one makes it look like they're pillows, like it really increases that embossing. And then of course it doesn't cut the center out or the outside. So I needed to put something else in there. So I was able to use the smaller hugs from here, sending you hugs, and then the oval die for the center here. So really, really pretty set. Just gorgeous if you like lots of scallops and things like that. So, all right, let's pop to the next one. Okay, our next card, I gave you a sneak peek last week, is this little shadow box lighthouse card with the Sunset Coast set. It's so, so fun and beautiful. I'm using the Sunset Coast paper, and I cut this in half so that I could get 2 pieces to fit in here, but I'm hoping that you can see that shimmer on there on the water. And so all the papers have this beautiful shimmer on them. All right, so we are starting out with, goodness, there I'm having issues with the light again. It seems never ending tonight. Okay, so I have 2 pieces of navy. One is just a card base. It is a 5.5 by 4.25. That is our back. And then the piece that's cut out is 4.25 by 7. I have scored it, here's the score lines, at 3/4, 1.5, 5.5, and 6.25. Okay, so we are gonna fold this one forward. Let's go ahead and burnish those. And then the next one goes back. Go to the other side and do the same thing. Fold it forward and then back. Now in this die, there are a couple things that we want to punch out of here. And then we got some in the little hills here. Okay. Doesn't want to just pop out of there. All right, now I've made a total mess. Let's get that cleaned up. All right, so before I put this on, I'm gonna put this in place, I think. I cut this at 4.25 by 4, I think. Yeah, 4. And that's just gonna go, it's going to fill in the space. If you're using your whole piece of designer paper, you will cut your designer paper at 4 inches by 4.25. But because I needed to do this for a class, I needed to cut my paper down to 3 inches. And so I needed something to fill in this backspace. So I picked a color that was in the paper. So this is just a little paper saving tip if you want to get the most cards out of your paper. So this is 3 inches by 4.25, 3 inches wide. All right. And when I'm looking straight on at this, unless I look to the side, I don't even notice that yellow paper that's behind it. But it doesn't matter if I do because it matches the colors in my designer paper. All right, let's get this stamped real quick. I'm using Congratulations. I believe it's from this set. And I'm going to stamp this upside down. Is it straight? Not too bad. And let's give it a little bit of a tail. I don't think we need quite this much. I think I wanted to do it the other direction. Oh well, some days you see I have the tail at the other end. Oh well, that's okay. We'll do this one different. And I do want to tie my bows, and I cut 2 pieces of this, I think at like 8.5 inches or so. 2 pieces of linen thread. And I'm just going to tie them on my bow maker so that I can, it's a little hard to tie 2 pieces of this together. So I thought I'm just going to do it the easy way and do it on here. And it really looks, it looks so pretty when you have 2. And it definitely, I gave enough to cut off some of this. I need some ribbon scissors. All right, now I'm making a mess again. Okay, let's get this. I usually use tear and tape. Let me see if I have some in here. For something that's going to be movable like this. So we're going to put some tear and tape on here. And let's go ahead and put 2 pieces just because it's wide enough. Not because it's real movie, but I mean, you could probably get away with 1 piece. But if we're not doing shoddy work, we might as well just put 2 on, right? Okay, let's press this down good and get these up here. The key is pressing it down so that it doesn't peel up from the paper while you're trying to peel this off. All right, so I'm going to put 1 piece down first. Probably don't peel both of them off at the same time. All right, and then I'm going to fold this back because that has to be able to lay flat. And then I will sort of pull this out so that my fold is not... Why are you lights doing this to me tonight? When have I ever had so much trouble with lights? I'm worried that they're going to soon be like welching out on me because I don't even know if I can replace them. Okay, I'm just going to get rid of this so I don't make a mess. And we are going to put our grating on here, and I'm going to put it on the opposite side. I see a little piece hanging down there. So this one I have going this direction. This one's going to go the other way. So I'm going to let it hang off of this edge just a little bit because I can go flat that direction. So I think that would be cute hanging off there. Do I want dimensionals? Why not? I'm using up all these pieces, so I might as well go ahead and do that. Well, I didn't really want it the whole way out there if I want that to run off the edge, did I? Are you thinking that as you're watching this? Don't forget, ladies, ladies and whoever else, gentlemen, usually it's ladies. But anyways, if you're watching this, please let me know that you're watching because your comments mean a lot to me. And, you know, it's hard to keep doing something like this because it does take a lot of time and energy. And, yeah, it's helpful to know that you're enjoying it. And if you're not, that's okay. You know, I don't have to do this forever, but if you are enjoying it, let me know. And, that way that helps to give me motivation to keep going. All right, let's throw some glue on here and see if we can get these to stick here. I might use some glue dots here actually, because I need them to stick a little quicker than waiting around for glue to dry sometimes. So this is all one die that does these 3. So I just did it in 3 different colors so that I could have 3 different colors on here to match the paper, the designer paper. And you can see here how you got 3 different colors here. All right, and then last but not least, after we have those cute guys on there, we're going to add some of the gems from this suite, the Sunset Sparkle Sequins. And I just grabbed a couple of the different colors and used those just because they're all going to coordinate with our paper. So you can use whichever ones you like. Let's use a small one there. So there we go. All right, that's number 3. I think we could definitely trim our twine a little bit more here. It's going a little crazy. And of course, like this will fold flat to send and then stand up and be beautiful. All right, next card. Okay, before I start the next one, I did just want to give you a little a few other ideas with that Sunset Coast set. Let me just turn up my color a little bit, or my light. This is one that I showed before. This one I cased somewhat. I got the idea from, just skipped my mind. But anyways, that's using that gorgeous, gorgeous paper. You can see the shimmer there on that. And then one that I shared a couple weeks ago, I did this one using our stencil for the background. This is from the same set, but this is just creating the scene on your own with stamps. And then, of course, this one I did with just with the new in color paper. So I wanted to show you those. All right, the next card and the last card that we're doing is the Lily of the Valley set. And I'm using several pieces of the gorgeous paper. And we're going to do another technique, so stay tuned here. Here's the Lily of the Valley stamp set that we're using. And we're also using the Fern and Flora embossing folder. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is some stamping. So we have to... We're going to stamp our flowers and our leaves. I'm going to just pop out these little guys here. And I do have this set up on my Stamparatus. So, let's see, how did I do this? Okay. So we're going to put this in here. And let me just pop some magnet on here. And I'm going to use our new Peaceful Pine to ink that. The stamp has not been used much yet, so we'll stamp that good. And I'm stamping it on soft sea foam. Okay, so it's already green, just adding more green to that. And then next, I'm trying to think how I have this in here. Oops, that's not the right piece. Sorry, I didn't set this up first. So I think I put this one in here, probably. So we'll just move this one out of the way. Pop this one in here. There we go. That's the nice thing about the Stamparatus, is you can have two things going at the same time. And then for this one, Secret Sea is the new black, don't you think? Love it. That's probably what I used anyways, because I do love how this inks. All right, there we go. How gorgeous is that? All right, I'm going to just put that down there. We'll take this one off and get that out of the way. And then let me just stamp my greeting. I'm using Happy Birthday from this set in Darling Duckling. I missed the end of the Y. Let's try it again. No, I think it's crooked. It is. Cindy, do you have another scrap of paper? Who doesn't have scraps of paper, right? But is there one in here? Of course not. Okay. Well, you know what? I'm going to try something. Let's flip it over and just see if I can get this Y on here. All right, it's a little tricky, but you got to get your head right above it. So excuse my head. And I'm going to try to line up everything else. There. Okay. Now I can use that side. It's just a little bit darker. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to build our background. And we're going to be using 3 pieces of designer paper. And for some reason I only have 2 here. But let's go ahead and put these on. Maybe I forgot to cut the other piece. And this does have a nap to it, which means in fabric at least that it's going a certain direction because the lilies are going up this way. So I do need to make sure that I have that going the right way. Let me just see if I can line this up a little bit better. Okay, and then let me grab. I'm not sure why this packet didn't have the other piece unless I just missed it, but there we go. And then I'm actually going to leave, I think maybe I'll put this on first, although I sort of wanted it to be on top, but we are going to do, we're going to emboss this whole piece, so it's not going to matter because it's all going to get embedded in there. Get that down there good. Oh, I did that wrong. Well, Cindy, you're going to just mess up this whole thing. I'll grab the other piece. I know none of you have ever done that before, have you? Glued the wrong side. Oh my word. That's frustrating. I'm having issues with this, let me try, with this mat, because maybe it will give me a little more. There we go. Maybe. Nope, it's not helping. I'm just trying to get a little bit, and you know these don't want to do that. That's where you pull out your green glue and you're like, done, right? Okay, I do have glue on this one. Okay. So there's that. And it's probably up a little higher than I really wanted it to be because I put this on here. So maybe I will do it like I originally was going to do it. Hold on one second. Don't mind me while I screw up again. I just want more white at the top. So let's see if I can. Hopefully I don't have that glued up there too high. We're just going to put this right against that. And then this piece is just going to go over top of here. Like so. Okay, now I like it. Okay, let me grab the Stampin' Cut and Emboss again. This time we are going to use plate 1 and plate 3 and plate 4. And we're going to use this gorgeous Flora, Fern and Flora. And you can just decide which direction you want this to go. I really want to see this swirl. I can't remember what they're called. We did a rainforest. I don't want plate 3. I just want 1 and 4. We did a rainforest tour, and they talked about the ferns and stuff. And I should remember what that's called when it opens up and it furls like that. So beautiful. And they were huge. There. How pretty is that? Okay, so we've embossed this whole design. It looks like a quilt almost. All right. Now I just need to do a little bit of coloring, and then we can put, well, I can go ahead and put this on, but then we need to do a little bit of coloring and put our flowers on. This is just creating a little bit of a background for our flowers, or flowers, whichever. I probably should have trimmed this edge off a tad, but all right. So I don't think that you would necessarily need to even color this. So maybe I'll do one without coloring, but these are the colors that I used. Lost Lagoon and Pool Party. And yeah, I think I'm going to just leave it. I sort of like that. And then I just took the Pool Party and gave them just a little hint of color. I know that they're white, but it's hard to leave white. Although I guess what you could do is color around them so that the white stands out a little bit more. But I just did like a hint of color on there because they're reflecting color around them, maybe from the sky, right? All right, So let's go ahead and we'll glue this down. And then I'm going to just put green glue on here. And you could take the time and put some dimensionals on here and pop this up as well, if you want to. But we're going to pop the greeting up, so I'm not going to do that. I just want to tuck this under here. Can't get it. There you go. There we go. And that's so pretty. All right, so let's go ahead and make a tail on this. And I've almost finished using this strip of dimensionals here. And I'm covering up, I don't really want to cover up all my yellow there. So maybe I'll put this down here a little bit. Maybe bring it out to the edge and let it stand off a tad. And then we have the gems. What I did was I pulled out the in color flat pearls and used the gorgeous Darling Duckling gems from the in colors that started last year. And we will put 2 of these on here, maybe 3. We have 3 different sizes, so there we go. All right, so here's the colored leaves using blends, and then here's the not colored. So let me know what you think. And this one, of course, the flowers have a little bit more color too. Let me know which is your favorite. If you hate coloring and this is more your style, you can say that too. Because I think that if you love coloring, then you probably will enjoy the colored more because there's shading and everything. But it'll be interesting to see who likes that. And then this is just a card I showed you before using the same paper, but one of the other pieces. Just such beautiful paper. And this one has this the first folder that we used. Now I can't remember what it was called. But okay, well, thank you for joining me. I hope that you enjoy those projects. Again, remember you can get them for free by placing a $50 order this month. And if you need my link, just give me a holler. And don't do like I did and forget your free product of the month, whether it's this vellum paper or if you missed the die and you want to get that. Don't forget to add that for $5 to your order. All right, take care. God bless.